I'm Tony Cisneros, owner and operator of Alpventures World War II Tours, and today I'm at Thorpe Abbotts, home of the 100th Bomb Group. The 100th Bombardment Group was recently depicted in Apple TV's hit series Masters of the Air from the executive producers of Band of Brothers and the Pacific.
The 8th will be sending up the largest air armada ever assembled in the history of mankind. Straight into Hitler's territory.
In order to complete their mission of destroying Hitler's war machine from the air, the United States Army Air Force needed lots of new pilots, planes, and airfields in England, and they needed them as fast as possible. Construction started in 1942 near the village of Thorpe Abbotts, originally as another airfield for the British Royal Air Force. But on July 20, 1943, it was turned over to United States 8th Bomber Command, which was later designated the United States 8th Air Force. Here in East Anglia, Station 139, as it was officially designated by the 8th Air Force, Thorpe Abbotts Airfield was one of over 40 heavy bomber bases used by the mighty 8th for their bombing raids on targets throughout Nazi-occupied Europe. Similar to other Allied bomber bases throughout England, Thorpe Abbotts covered an area of 500 acres, had 3 runways, including one of the longest in England, and up to 50 hard stands, parking places for B-17s when they weren't out flying on missions. The 100th Bombardment Group began arriving in England in early summer 1943 and flew its first combat mission on June 25th of that year. The unit flew their final mission of the war on Adolf Hitler's last birthday, April 20th, 1945. In just under 2 years, the 100th Bomb Group flew 306 missions, including 8,630 sorties, and during that time they dropped over 19,000 tons of bombs.
For everyone left behind at the base, waiting was the hardest part.
At its peak of operation late in the war, Thorpe Abbotts was home to over 3,000 people and up to 70 B-17 flying fortresses. The 100th Bombardment Group did not have the highest numbers of killed and missing crew members in the 8th Air Force. However, when the 100th lost, they lost big. The unit earned the nickname the Bloody 100th due to its very high losses on 8 deadly missions. These missions were flown in the fall of 1943 and continued through the end of 1944, including the infamous raids on Regensburg and Schweinfurt, the Leuna Works at Merseburg, Ruhland, 2 horrible raids on Berlin, Hamburg, Bremen, and Münster.
No more.
The impact the 100th Bombardment Group, and many other bomb groups like it, had on the overall effort to win the war cannot be overstated. Fully aware that their chances of survival were minimal, these air crews continued to take the fight to the enemy against all odds and faced death day after day. We owe them a debt that can never be repaid, and we should never forget their legacy, those heroes of the sky, these masters of the air. The 100th Bomb Group may have been some of the first American soldiers to bring the war to Hitler's doorstep, and the lasting effects of those missions, both triumphant and tragic as they were on a daily basis, were felt here at Thorpe Abbotts. Discover Thorpe Abbotts and other heavy bomber airfields in England on Alpventures World War II tours. Visit our website for more information at worldwar2tours.com.